Yo, it's Jojo, and I am here today with a video on Lost Ark PvP. I am doing an analysis of the ArkRivalry 1v1 PvP tournament that was played 2 days ago on January 16th. And I'm going to start off with the first match between Neeko2lo and Rushed. Neeko playing the Deathblade and Rushed playing the Lancemaster. I had predicted Rushed to take the win here against Neeko because I thought that Lancemaster would be able to kind of move around and just poke out the blade from outside of its effective range, which seemed to be the general consensus in the Discord chat when I read what other people were saying at during the match. But Neeko really played out of his mind. Super impressed. Both players were actually playing really well, and it went down to a 7-6. Super close matchup, super exciting, and we're going to take a look at how they played, what they could have done better, and if I actually understand the game. This is going to be, or this video is going to be a little bit of a learning experience for both myself and, well, for the viewers, I guess. You can follow my thought process and how I think about games in general. So I would love some feedback in the comments or anywhere else. If you think something I say is wrong or stupid, or I have misunderstood something, please tell me, because I want to learn everything there is to know about this game. So without further ado, let's take a look here. So from what I understand of these classes' gameplay and their general game plan, first you're going to have the Blade, who has a slightly stronger guaranteed burst on catch. Would probably just need 2 to 3 catches to finish the game. He has a very simple combo that he does every single time, which is some kind of stagger into a stun, into the charged up knock up, into a hurricane, the circle AoE that does a lot of burst. The Blade will have a little bit of a slower, like more reactive game plan, because his abilities do have some longer cast times. They aren't as fast as the Lancemasters, but they do have superior super armor and superior stagger for most of them. So he will probably tank some engages with super armor while keeping the dodge for the Lancemaster's stun. When it comes to the Lancemaster, Rushed, his general game plan should probably be something like baiting with superior mobility. He has some slightly faster catch options if he manages to hit between the gaps of the super armor that the Blade has. And he has a slightly weaker guaranteed burst on catch, so would probably need maybe 3 to 4 catches, depending on how hard he crits, or if he hits the spears at tip or not. Also has a fairly straightforward combo. He does a tornado into the freeze spin, and then dashes back into a fully charged red dragonflight at the tip of the spear. So now that we know the individual game plans for both of these classes, the Blade and the Lancemaster, well, how does this stack up against each other? So as we've said, the Blade is going to have a more slow reactive playstyle due to their super armor advantage, while the Lancemaster is going to try to focus on mobility and speed to thread the needle and hit her staggers and stuns in between the advantage that the Blade has. So since I believe the Lancemaster Rushed here is should be the proactive party, the one that actually makes the plays happen or has to force Neeko into bad positions to make plays happen, I will be focusing a lot on the Lancemaster here, because I believe that this match could have looked completely different with some changes in playstyle. The Lancemaster should have 3 ways to approach this fight. The first engage option is one where you use your mobility tools to bait out a reaction out of the Blade. So use things like Moon Virgo Dance, Full Moon Strike, Moon Rise, these abilities that have a fairly long range that you can use outside of the effective range of the Blade. And try to make stuff happen. Bait out a dodge, bait out some kind of super armor, maybe even use your Sky Wheel if you really want to go hard. I don't think it's a great catch option, but you do have the super armor, so you should be able to trade if the Blade responds with something similar. The second catch option is just hitting a stun. It has a really long range, and it can really catch people off guard, but I do not advise using it out of neutral. We will see Rushed do this throughout the series and getting baited by Neeko so hard, so I definitely would think that using things like Moon Virgo Dance into Full Moon Strikes or Moon Rises from the side would be a way more fruitful option, because it will force Neeko into, well, doing stuff. Neeko gets to play safe and play the way he wants to many of these fights. The third and more predictable option of engaging is using Solar Eclipse. So when you go into red stance, you have a jump that actually can catch fairly well, especially against classes with bad super armors. Unfortunately, the blade does have good super armors, and also an attack called Sudden Attack that actually can out-trade that ability and completely win that matchup. So it's not a very good option out of neutral when the blade is ready and has Sudden Attack or Rising Whirlwind ready, because both of those can out-trade and will out-trade. But if he doesn't have Sudden Attack, Rising Whirlwind doesn't actually win the trade, it just tanks the trade. So as long as you Solar Eclipse into an instant counter, Mantra of Dawn, you will be able to either hit the counter stun, or at least you won't get knocked up yourself, and you can then convert that into some other ability, maybe knock him up with the Moonrise or hit the stun, or maybe dodge a little bit with the Moon Virgo Dance into something else, or a Sky Will to tank. Got a lot of options out of that one, so just gotta make sure that Sudden Attack is not ready, which would have been really easy, because multiple times throughout this series, Neeko uses Sudden Attack preemptively because he's very afraid of getting hit. So one problem with Rushed skill build here that shows itself multiple times throughout this series is that he doesn't really have a good option out of stun now that he plays this freeze into spear build. So his only combo relies on him hitting the freeze into the spear, which he usually does after a tornado. But take a look at this catch here, where he manages to hit the stun after the axle, which is a really good read. Perfect. Now he should be able to get a lot of freaking damage out of this catch. But unfortunately, since he relies so heavily on the freeze combo into Red Dragonflight, he tries to get the freeze here, but due to the stun immunity or diminishing returns, he does not get the freeze, does not get the Red Dragonflight, and a catch just leads to a 10% damage. So while I'm talking about the conclusions here, I'm gonna have Game 8 playing in the background, which is, in my opinion, the best game that Rushed played. He's making use of every single tool in his kit. He's using Solar Eclipse engages, he's using Moon Virgo Dance mix-ups to bait, and getting follow-ups with the spear. I think this is absolutely beautifully played by Rushed, and most of his games should look something like that. Would definitely like to see more aggression after Rising Whirlwind and Sudden Attack has been used. There were a few moments in these matchups where Rushed did not go aggressive after those two cooldowns had been used, even though they are his most immediate threat. So if Rushed can increase the tempo and increase the variety of his engages with some mix-ups, I say Neeko would be guessing way more about what a Rushed's game plan would be, and this match would look completely different. So now that we're done with Rushed, let's get over to Neeko. So you could definitely notice a shift in playstyle, or at least game plan, from Neeko at the end of the series. So the first 5 matches, sure, Rushed was way too passive, which allowed Neeko to kind of play at his own pace, which definitely helped a lot. So as soon as Rushed started getting rushed and played a little bit faster, he started rolling aggressively into punishes to catch Neeko, which he caught onto, and started doing an instant sudden attack onto the roll of Rushed to re-catch him, which was incredibly beautiful. But you could definitely notice a shift in playstyle towards the later rounds, where Neeko started throwing out spells left, right, and center. He got way too antsy, way too stressed out, and started using like Axel into stuns, Axel into rising attacks. He was the one being proactive and engaging, which just led Rushed to easily dodging it with 1 or 2 abilities and then re-engaging with his own much faster engage tools. maybe a little bit of nerves getting into Neeko's head. Could see at the end during the interview that his hand was shaking. I could definitely understand the pressure, especially when you know you're one game away. You can that can definitely get to your head. So I am impressed that he managed to stay calm, like recollect his thoughts, and just adapt to Rushed's adaptation, and manage to eke out the victory by just a few centimeters. Well played by both players. I would definitely want to see a rematch here to see if any of these things change. And I would love to get any type of feedback or comments and know if this is of interest to anyone else. And if you want to see more of this content, well then do make sure to hit a like and a comment and a subscribe and all that shenanigans for the algorithm. So I'm going to end the video here with highlights of the match and a little funny bonus clip at the end. So do stay and watch. Until next time, and I hope you enjoy the video.
Neeko again playing very patient. CA tornado. Neeko just goes through the tornado with his super armor axle, gets a stun blade out. Sorry, and then he gets so much damage out. Rush actually overcommits slightly, gets it, and we see the final awakening come in from Neeko, and that is enough to finish him off.
His roll here. Stun is missed. Very good super armor usage there on Rush side. Catches him in the tornado. Freeze will go out. Let's see the crit here. 29k, very good. Neeko is at 35% and Rushed is at 90. I cannot see the games.
Wow, and Jeff, unfortunately, cannot see the amazing catch that Neeko just made into Rush. He did so much damage there, taking Rush down to 18%, and recatches him again. Did not have the cooldowns to finish Rush off, unfortunately, but it does not matter as he's just using a little skill here, one by one, and that is enough to finish him off.
Compared to Blade, so center of the arena. They're both kind of fighting a little bit for it, zoning each other. Initiation coming from Neeko. Full combo will come out here into the stun. 62% is what Rush is left at. And the immediate trinket chase. So he doesn't have too many skills here to follow up with that, but he uses his Z. So 45% for Rush. So he has to go on the offensive now. Neeko is just playing out of his mind this round. Counter procs. Rush goes into the whirlwind. Unfortunately gets stunned on the ground. And Rush looks like will be very low. 2% left. Neeko! Will be able to do this? Will be able to to close the game down? Lynn, just take it away from me. I'm too nervous.